Today I'm going to be doing something a little different and painting some surprise miniatures for another creator. And he has no idea what he's about to receive. Chris runs a YouTube channel called CT Dioramas, where he produces these really gripping videos that showcase from beginning to end bringing dioramas to life. I mean, take a look at some of these. These are so immersive and there's quite a bit of Star Trek going on there. But Chris, he doesn't enjoy painting the minis as much. So if you ask me, this plan was foolproof. I'll paint the characters and he can build the world around them. And the best part is I know that Chris has been expecting me to paint him some Warhammer 40k models, a universe that he knows very little about. But I'm hyped to paint some Star Wars minis. When it comes to picking out what minis I'll be painting today though, here are my rules. No named characters, and no person or creature that is tied to a specific location or environment. The reason for this is I want Chris to have the creative freedom to tell whatever story he wants. And if I send him Vader and Luke, then he's railroaded into picking a specific time and place that they would meet. Or if it's a bantha, then he's stuck making a desert on Tatooine, which actually would be a really cool video for me to make because I could try out my Tusken Raider impression that I've been working on. You're welcome. Now I was going to rule out Jedis altogether, but as I look back through Chris's videos, I can see that Jedis only feature once in his dioramas. See, Vader doesn't count. Vader is a Sith Lord by this stage, so former Jedi Knight doesn't cut it. You know what you did, Anakin. Spoilers. Wait, sorry, no to spoilers. Return of the Jedi came out in like 1983. Anyway.
Anyway? What do you mean, anyway?
So I've picked a Jedi. Now there's plenty of different sculpts out there, but I've gone with this one from Black Remnant Minis because I like the idea of a battle-ready pose, but he also looks kind of calm. Like, yeah, he's about to cut something in half with a lightsaber, but his heart rate isn't getting over 75. He doesn't have a name. Well, I mean, he does have a name, but we don't get to name him. Chris gets to tell the story, remember? So for now, let's just call him Liam's Neeson's. Our protagonist needs some peril, because my theory for this diorama is we'll have three elements. There's our hero, there's the threat, and there's the environment. So let's meet the threat. I want a creature, because yeah, you could go with some fancy TIE fighter or a droid of some kind, but I think the threat is scarier when it's something that just can't be reasoned with, and it's about to tear you in half. I'm pretty good with Star Wars, in the sense of, yes, I've watched the films and I've watched the TV shows and I've explored a bit of the extra media, but I found myself in a new position as I was jumping into Google and typing, what is the name of that catfish scorpion looking monster? A Skritin, for those playing at home. And yes, I think we have some really cool ways that we can paint this. And finally, I want to add something to the environment. My initial idea was to go with a downed transport ship of some kind, but again, I think that's encroaching on the diorama storytelling aspect. I'd be robbing Chris of that opportunity. So instead, I'm gonna look for some little creatures I can add into the mix. These are Tzeentch demons, and they're from the Warhammer universe. But look at that, they absolutely belong in Star Wars as well. I can picture these skimming across a lake, or hurtling through an underground cave, or bursting up through the sand. Brushes out, let's start with Liam's Neeson's. He can have a white prime to start us off, and that will help to keep him nice and bright overall.
No one cared who I was until I put on the mask.
This Jedi Knight is going to be the center of attention, but I'm already thinking ahead, and the fact that he's tiny. And Jedis tend to wear some pretty boring clothes, so how exactly will he stand out? I think contrast is key here, meaning that if I can make the scorpion catfish quite dark, then a bright robed figure should pop out. Add to that the fact that he is kind enough to be holding a source of bright light, so I can actually run with the approach of having drab bones and browns in that classic look and allow a glowing lightsaber to be the main attraction. Nothing will be pretty yet though, because my first port of call is to block out all of the different sections with my base colours. And on that subject of colour schemes, let's not overdo it. His goal with travelling from planet to planet is to lay low. He can have metal pauldrons and gauntlets as though he was semi-prepared for a bit of action, but otherwise, trust me, we want him bland to start off with. Darker skin tones will look great with what is to come with the lightsaber, so I push right into that ruddy brown colour. Then, thanks to some lush brown hair, the base colours are finished. I find that the excitement with mini painting ramps up as you go. Then we start down here with our snoozy base coating, and now we find ourselves doing some highlights and some texture adding and shadows, and our heart rate's going up a little bit, and then soon we're going to be into the special effects phase, where these are the moments that have me pinging and excited to come back to mini painting every time. My channel has no shortage of mini painting guides if you find yourself wanting some extra detail on how I perform all of these steps, but really my focus here is to paint some darker colours into all of the shadow areas and then work my way lighter as highlights on the raised sections. Clothing and robes are fantastic to practice on, and I really enjoy painting them because all of the smooth flowing elements. Perhaps a little too smooth for our well-travelled Jedi though. So when I paint my highlights, rather than one smooth long line, I'm painting these thin little hash patterns to give this more of a fabric texture feel. More and more highlights to the clothing and accessories, but come on, we are here for the glowing stick. Yes, fine, I'll jump ahead, but just know that I took a lot of care and attention to painting that tiny little face. Fine, the glowing stick. The incredible channel Discord members helped me to pick out the models for this project, link below if you want to come join us, and we have plenty of back and forth coming up with different ideas, including the unexpectedly heated topic of what colour the lightsaber should be. Red would look really good, but it's evil, so it's out. And purple would look wicked, but I got a phone call from Sam Jackson and he advised me from ruining the otherwise healthy working relationship that he and I have. Yellow made sense narratively, that he could be a temple guard or on some kind of spiritual journey, but yellow wasn't going to stand out enough, sorry. So instead, I've made the decision to go with green, still spiritual with its deep connection to the Force, and if this character is some kind of council, then it's pretty cool to think of reasons how he found himself in this mess. Using a selection of bright greens, I thin them down on my wet palette and I'm glazing them in patches over the top of the bright white lightsaber. The part I was excited for though is this. Using a fluorescent green paint, I have a really weak but really bright semi-transparent layer that I can now brush onto Liam Neeson's. I picture the lightsaber as a lamp and it's throwing the green light out in different directions. So on the raised sections of his hands, the metal armor plates, folds in the clothing and body armor, and then yeah, the right side of his face would be glowing. It's so bright that this could work in a daytime or dark setting for Chris, but this pose makes me think that our Jedi has just this moment activated his weapon and illuminated himself. Let's do our reveals as we go today. So here is our Jedi Knight.
Your love or your touch, oh, it's what I'm living for. Say I'll never waste my time, I'm all you want. Oh, yeah, we live it up, I know for sure that
We've set the tone with our hero of the story, but now let's discover what threatens to tear him in half. Can't be many more of those left. Now hear me out. Our Jedi, our hero of the story, is tiny and he's really bright coloured. So let's contrast that with this insane monster, this huge beast that can't be reasoned with. He's massive. But let's make him dark. Like dark and venomous. Yeah, we can do that. Dark works because it's scarier, and we could just drop this into any setting and it makes sense. It could come around the corner in an underground cave system, it could erupt through the sands on a desert planet, or it could be a white neon cyberpunk gladiatorial arena with pink and blue strobe lights. Sorry, the storytelling of the diorama is not mine. I will tell you the story of the catfish scorpion. A black prime this time because sections of the model would be unpainted and remain in black. Airbrush setup and headphones in. Probably listening to the Flashing Badger team on Spotify, playing the Star Wars role-playing game hosted by Gordon and zany characters fielded by Mike, Weggs and Fitz trying to pull off a daring casino heist. I've heard it's an excellent listen. Available now on your favourite podcast platforms. Back to the painting. That was a coat of gloss going down to make him all shiny, and I know my audience. So here is a little paint pot on one of those vortex jiggly machines making it swish about. 3 years in, I know what the people want. When I said I had some crazy plans for the scorpion catfish, this is where it begins. A metallic colour shift paint. These are popular if you're painting something like the plastic shell for a remote control car, but get a load of this. The air pressure is turned up and I'm hitting some of those topside prominent areas. The main part being that enormous claw. He's still so dark, but it's as though the light catches him just right. And in your final moments, that gorgeous crimson copper claw is the last thing you see sweeping towards you before the tail strikes from above. I actually expected to stop there with the carapace colours, but that was way too much fun. Back in with an accent colour for the underside, and this time a cosmic-y purple to blue transition. This would hide away in the dark on its underside, but as it curls that tail over, gorgeous. That's already looking cooler than I'd hoped, but let's move the airbrush to the side and get to work with our brushes. I don't think the armour plating needs any more work, and it's only going to steal attention from those colours. But when we look at our monster, yeah, we see the vibrant metallic colouring, but our eyes focus in on that huge mouth, so this needs a whole lot of attention. Dark crimson flesh colours remind us that he's organic and will be a nice backdrop for dozens of razor-sharp teeth. I'm ready to say that I've hit a point where I'm not enjoying holding this model. It actually looks too gross and too scary. I have to remind myself that the happy ending is that I tightly wrap this thing in a box and make it an overseas problem. And those familiar with my channel would have to know that this was coming. You can't have a jaw that wide and angry and not decorate it with disgusting drool. Yoo-hoo brand glue a toothpick and quickly drag it back and forth from tooth to razor sharp tooth. That's still quite fragile though, so I'll add a couple of drops of UV resin onto the strands and then zap them with my blue light, and here's how it's turned out. This thing absolutely eats Jedis. Just know that I've been waiting absolutely all video to do that. Screamers are awesome. They're like a hybrid of a manta ray and a hoverboard. And I love the idea that they're just adding to the environment to make it seem more perilous. Like, yeah, we've got our Jedi squaring off against a Skritin, but what if he survives that encounter? Is he still actually safe in this place? I was going to paint them dark as well, but the purple and blue colours on our big monster look so good, and I think we can tie that into our screamers to capture that they share a connection to the environment. Sliding the airbrush back across, and here's 6 paints that will give us a fun transition. One by one they are going down, and the colours remind me of the 90s things like the Charlotte Hornets or those radical drink cups. Fitting then that I give you a brief 90s montage to capture how I painted the screamers, and for the Warhammer fans out there, tell you what, I might even make a cheeky spin-off video where I capture this in way more detail, if you're interested. Awesome to the max, and here are how the screamers have turned out. So here's my problem. I'm alright at painting minis, but I have a lot to learn about making dioramas. It's gonna have to be CT Dioramas to the rescue, and I know exactly how to contact him. Does the blinking red light mean it's recording? General CT Dioramas, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. General CT Dioramas, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Don't know why we're still using low budget holograms. Anyway, in you go. And off to find Chris. I'm sorry, I don't speak postal droid. Like the Galactic Senate, the channel Patreon continues to grow. And honestly, it's mind-blowing. Thank you so much to all of these people for their ongoing financial contribution that means I get to keep making these silly videos. For the making of this video, their donations went towards lots of Jawa juice to keep me up late at night editing the video. And it tasted about as nice as you'd think it would. Chaos Imperium, David S, Dorina, Nova Nightingale, and RLY Josh_RC are our latest members, and as such, they are being treated to a 3-night getaway in the luxurious vacation destination of Alderaan. Too soon? Thank you to the many boffins of the channel Discord that helped me pick out which miniatures I was going to paint. If you want to come be a part of that, there's a link below in the video description. And whilst you're there, you will also find the details for Chris's YouTube channel, CT Dioramas. There's going to be a bit of downtime between my video and his, so why not treat yourself to his other masterpiece diorama videos while you're there. And maybe you can leave a comment for him down below, just something to let him know that you're excited and hyped for what he's going to put together, so that he can see just how radical our community is on this end. And this just in today, if you're looking for a cool way to support our channel, well, Frontline Gaming are selling Flashing Badger painting dice, and a slice of the profits come back to me to help make these videos. Flashing Badger painting dice? Oh, you know they're gonna roll hot. And Chris, I have no idea what you're going to come up with using the models, but I'm excited to find out.
Legend speaks of our man who saved the world with just a stroke of a brush. You may know him by name. He's the badger with a magical touch. Flashing badger, flashing badger. Flashing badger.